Thanks for checking out a new episode of Bad Advice with Chris Cubis, the show where unqualified people give unsolicited advice. This week, I'm joined by comedians Danielle Perez and Matt Bearden, as well as pro wrestler and Twitch personality Effy. Man, this is a fun one. If you ever wondered how you would handle it if your mom got her nipples pierced and started showing all your friends, this is the episode for you. Give it a listen. Welcome to Bad Advice with Chris Cubis, unsolicited advice from unqualified people. We are back. This is like week, I don't know. Who knows what time it is, what day it is. But I've got three awesome people here. I'm so excited to see everybody's faces. This podcast is basically turned into like quarantine therapy for me to like see other human beings or like an Instacart driver. We're going to start one of my favorite humans, comedian, radio host, longtime Austin cohort of mine, Matt Bearden. How are you?
I'm good, Chris. It's good to actually see a human that is somewhat near my age. It's really nice to just see adults. I have been doing quarantine homeschooling and whatnot, and please don't ask me any math questions for the next hour. That's all I ask of you.
I think we should be good. You may be the first parent we've had on the podcast yet, or first parent that's raising their children anyway. How is that going for you? Like, now you have your wife is a teacher, so that maybe helps a little bit.
Oh, it helps a ton. She does 99% of the work. And I should also be honest, if we record this in a week, I may not be a parent anymore. That's the direction we're headed in. Like, I've got great kids, but imagine when you were a kid, if you had to spend this much time away from friends, and the world is weird. At least my kids are 10 and 7, so they have a little bit of a concept of what's going on. My son really got it when early on I made him notice my daughter was having a really hard time. I made her get in the car and I drove around the city so she could see that other people were masked and also that the city was empty, so she could get a concept of what was going on, because I think it's hard when you're at that age. But I have friends who have like 2-year-olds, and so if you're 2 years old, this means that half of your life has been with your parents saying, don't approach another kid, don't say hi to other kids, don't touch other kids. And psychologically, that's kind of weird, because you're just like, oh, so we just live in this, it's just 3 people in the world and everybody else can fuck off. Which may not be a bad attitude. I don't know where the world is heading. It might be the best way to raise a kid.
I was going to tell you, the idea of people starting to raise their kids by telling them not to touch other people, good start. Let's go there, and we'll start with leave other people to fuck alone, and then we'll move on.
Silver linings, baby, silver linings.
Up next, we have a hilarious comedian from Los Angeles. The one thing I do like about this, like, I used to hate Skype podcasts. So I was only do podcasts with people like in Austin, or we're traveling and coming through Austin, because I didn't like to do this. But now you have to. And it's awesome. I get to talk to people from everywhere. Danielle Perez, how's it going?
Hey, I'm good. I'm living, just out here wondering if I travel X miles an hour and the coronavirus is traveling Y miles an hour. How many people will I be able to infect?
Matt, can you help with this math problem, Matt?
I'm writing it down and I'm passing it off to my wife. She'll get the answer to you shortly.
Smart move. Danielle, have you done any comedy since this has happened, like actual like shows?
Outside in the world, honey, I am a high-risk bitch, okay? I am being locked down in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I am high risk because I have asthma. A lot of people think it's because I have diabetes, and I don't. I just don't have feet because I was hit by a train, okay? There's a difference. So yeah, I just want to make that very clear, okay?
I've known you for a while. I did not know the train part of your story, and you dropped that real casually. That is I guess
happen. Life comes at you fast.
Yeah, X miles an hour. We did the math A minute ago. Oh, God damn it. So, no, do you do Zoom shows at all? Have you been doing like Zoom
I've done like
comedy?
Zoom shows and Instagram live shows and Twitch and YouTube and any screen anywhere where I don't have to wear pants or a bra, I'll show up. I can do that. I love that. I don't ever want to leave my house again.
This is the only problem with the podcast is I feel like, all right, so we're going to try this out. A lot of the beginning of the podcast ends up being, how's your fucking quarantine, coronavirus, scary. And it gets to be a little redundant. So I have pulled up this website, Graceful Abandon, with 16 questions for Christians to ask on dates. Let's see if we can pull, okay. Let me see. Let me pick a decent one because a lot of these tell me about your past. That's too much. Let's go with, tell me about a time when you were treated unfairly. That's a date question according to Graceful Abandon. Danielle, tell me about a time as a disabled brown woman.
All these white people dating. Tell me about a time when they didn't bring your ranch when you requested it several times. Oh my God. I don't know, man. I'm a Black Afro-Latina living through a revolution in a pandemic. I think it's all very unfair right now.
Facts. Let's go ahead and introduce our last guest. I'm a big fan of this man's work. I will tell you this. I had to change my shirt before this podcast started because I was wearing this gentleman's t-shirt, and that's too fucking weird. Professional wrestler, Twitch personality, all around awesome person. This is Effy. Effy, how are you?
You told me you were still wearing the shirt, so it still counts. I still know. I wore one of my shirts yesterday to walk into the gas station, and that's always fun because it's like a big picture of my face on it, and I'm standing there. Thank God I have the mask on. I'm going to be real with you guys. I have not enjoyed the pandemic aspect, but boy, this half quarantine weird deal I've been doing since March has really worked in my favor. I've got to be honest. I've had such magical growth in this time.
Yeah? Like in what way? Give me an example.
It forced me onto Twitch. I'm broadcasting on Twitch like 40 hours a month. I'm bringing wrestling to the front page of Twitch. After we record this, we'll have 100,000 people watch pro wrestling in 2 hours on the front page of Twitch. And I've been getting to go out and do these crazy, weird pandemic shows and see the whole country in the middle of this lockdown, shutdown. And I literally have been on this sounds dangerous, but like I told you before we started, I've been tested 20 times, but I've seen all these major metropolitan areas in the middle of this crazy, intense pandemic protesting quarantine time. And it's just been eye-opening and wild. And especially being in Atlanta too, there's crazy stuff going on here, and it's been very exciting and interesting, and I've made a lot of money doing stuff during the quarantine. So where are my complaints?
No, that sounds fucking awesome. What is the worst city you've been to since this all started?
Holy moly. The worst for the quarantine stuff, like for everything?
Or just in general, the place where you had the worst time.
Oh man, this is tough. Honestly, I really haven't had any bad times. The worst times I have are on the airplanes. Being on an airplane during this time, I get like, I think everyone should work together during this time. And when people don't wear their masks on an airplane, you got to have the stewardess or the steward step in and say, hey, you got to cover your face with the mask. But nobody wants personal encounters now. Nobody wants any kind of friction. So they won't do it. So then I have to be the asshole on the plane who really doesn't want to be on a plane going to another grown adult. Can you cover your fucking nose, please, while we're on this flight? You only have to be here 2 hours. Those are the only times I have that tension in my heart. Everything else, pretty easy to deal with. And I enjoy the mask because when people are stupid in public, you can just watch them and laugh under your mask. No one knows. You can be obvious right there. You don't have to think about it and keep quiet later and keep a safe face.
For sure. Effy, what area of your life have you seen God working to change you?
I would say the biggest area was when I took 8 hits of LSD, met God, and she said that the end of your life will come very loud and very fast, but don't worry about it and start breaking those weird ceilings you have in your brain. And then I became a pro wrestler, we haven't talked much since me and God, but I'm writing the Bible too right now as a quarantine project. So we'll see where that goes.
I am down for gay pro wrestler Bible. I am down for that take on this fucking book.
Yeah, spoiler, Jesus is sort of a BDSM humanity trip for God where he finally nuts when Jesus dies. So we're really getting to the big questions. And I can't say it's my own words. It's inspired by the divine heavens that have come to me during this very stoned quarantine. So fuck it. We'll see what happens.
I love it. You guys, we're going to jump into our first round of questions here. Where do we want to go? Do we want to go like etiquette and sort of ethics questions? Or do we want to jump right in to marital divorce interactions?
Oh, let's do marital divorce interactions.
Okay,
yeah, my parents just got divorced, so that could be really fun.
All right, here we go. Tell me what you think about this one. I am a divorced man dating a divorcee, Sylvie, who is 8 years younger. I recently learned she had an affair before we met and is affecting the way I see her. The man she had the affair with is still married. I had an affair while I was married, and although I understand how affairs can happen, I don't condone them. It took me several years to forgive myself for the hurt my actions caused. Sylvie tells me things are over with this man, yet she continues to do business with him. In my mind, she ought to find alternative vendors to deal with. We have spoken about it, and she insists no one else in our area carries or represents the product line he offers. I feel if she is truly over him, then all communication, both personal and professional, should cease. It's not that I don't trust Sylvie, but I believe things might reignite between them in a weak moment. Am I being ridiculous? Signed, Dazed in Wisconsin. I have a lot of questions.
Well, I think the personal services and businesses that he offers is his dick. I mean, he's the only one carrying it.
Stone cold fact. I don't know where you work or what line of business you offer. There's more than two people. I guarantee there's more than one.
We all have access to Amazon.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I also think our Mr. Dazed in Wisconsin doesn't quite understand words that well, because he says he doesn't condone affairs, yet he had one. Then I don't understand. You did it. The thing you did, you clearly condone. He also says that he trusts his wife, but she's going to have an affair. So I don't understand the words.
I love that he's like, it's taken me a long time to forgive myself. Like, okay, all right, Jesus on the cross. I mean, what? Are you a martyr? Because you know you did a bad?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, this man. So here's the question. One, is Sylvie still fucking this dude, right? We can all agree on that.
Here's the thing. I'm going to come full devil's advocate on the situation.
Controversy.
Number one, and this is a rule in my life, and it's led to a lot of forgivable moments, and I think communication is the number one step. People be fucking is the number one rule. People do be fucking, and it happens all the time. Right. If you're talking to your partner and they had the moment of weakness, you've had a moment of weakness before, there has to be some level of communicable forgiveness. And for me, a lot of times, sex is important in a relationship, but it can also be a fun activity within friends. And some people are really good at playing baseball, and it's fun to play baseball with them. But if you're playing baseball with somebody who can't play baseball that well, maybe they're good at tennis, but they don't do well on the baseball field. There are these products, right, that she needs in her life that are helping her get by. Why step in if it's going to be safe and comfortable? Have the conversation with her, and maybe you can find a product that works for you too, and you guys can work this out. If you're needing to be together and it's that important for you, but maybe then again, this guy's asking the question and he's putting a lot of victim blaming on himself of, oh, this woman's cheating on me, when he's clearly been, a bit of a sex pest in the past of his own accord.
Matt, you're staring into this Zoom camera like the old man in the Zoom meeting. Do you want to?
I am that guy. That's who I am. Also, I'm staring into it because I think that really you've already shown that you're a terrible judge of human interaction when you've reached out to any kind of Dear Abby for help. You've already said, hey, you're a stranger. All you need to know from me are these 2 paragraphs. Please answer this question. I also will tell you that I am an idiot and have been my whole life, where I'm always the devil's advocate, and I always always over-trust people, which is why my career still hasn't gone anywhere after 30 years, and I can't pay bills. It's because that sounds like a good deal. But so part of me feels like she's not fucking anybody, but I think that he is, like a lot of men, a terribly insecure human being, and he sounds terrible. I think she should be able to read this letter and then say, I've made a mistake in not fucking this other guy who's the one guy that sells milk, and I'm leaving you. He sounds like he sounds like a terrible he sounds gross.
Yeah, I don't like him for the.
Sorry,
Danielle,
I'm
you brought
done.
this up. No, I agree. I don't like him, and you brought this up. It took me several years to forgive myself for the hurt my actions have caused. Is the most just like I can't even describe, like that person that is all like the making it about me, all about me, is why we still are in a pandemic in this country, because it's all about me, and I don't. I'm sorry for how I did this. It's.
That when you go out of your way to say
vulnerability instead of toxic masculinity.
Toxic vulnerability is such a great sentence. Holy shit. Yes, that's exactly what it is.
When you go out of your way to say, I'm someone who's forgiven myself, I think it's similar to starting a tweet with, well, I myself am a male feminist, before you decide to do something that sounds really horrible right after that.
Yeah. So let's say this. Let's say she is still having an affair, right? We got Effy. He says, you guys got to work out who's gonna fuck who. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I'm gonna say this. I agree with you, but I don't know that these Wisconsin ass people have the same open-mindedness to sort of polyamorous activities as maybe you do in Atlanta.
Well, trailer people have a lot more poly going on than the city folk do. I
think that together in community.
Yeah,
on the same
I think
line.
that is a misjudge on your part. We like to think of ourselves as, we live in a college town and we are very hip. But have you seen Dixie's Trailer Park, my friend?
I have not, sir.
Look it up on Pornhub, and it has all the answers you need to what's going on here.
Okay.
All right.
I'm not gonna lie. There was a time there was a number. So this goes back to when I would still get porn DVDs. That's how old I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
Vintage.
Yes.
Oh, vintage for
I used to porn Nickelodeon.
And I definitely, there was a Trailer Park series that I was very much into, because this one little blonde girl had like the tiniest short shorts, but then they were it was like too tiny, like you could see labia in the short shorts. And I was like, that is so, I don't know what does it about that for me, but it really worked for like 6 months. That was a good 6 months of what I was into. So, okay, maybe Wisconsin can handle it. Maybe they sit down, they have an honest conversation. You keep fucking who you're fucking. I'm going to fuck whoever he had the affair with. Although I can't imagine that person still wants to.
He's not emotionally mature enough for any of that, you know?
Yeah.
It's
honest
He
conversation.
should be glad anyone is fucking him.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve love or I just put that out there.
All right, Dazed in Wisconsin, you heard it here first. You don't deserve love.
Is this a listener, or is this just a person?
No, this is just Dear Abby. This person is not
good. Thank God.
I stole this. Well, interestingly enough, Dear Abby said the same thing when she responded to this letter. It's in the newspaper, so I'm sure you saw it.
Yeah.
She said, you little pain pig, find a fin-dom and get over yourself.
Oh, God damn it, that made me laugh. All right, I think we've covered him. You know what? Yeah, we can always come back to him, but I want to talk about okay, you talked about how people in the trailer parks in the South are a little more open-minded. Let's see what you have to say when I read this letter to you.
Yeah, I'm not saying open-minded. I'm just saying...
No, they're just fucking a lot. I got you. Yeah.
Well, you know who came up with the term cousin fucking, and it wasn't a PhD, right?
Yeah, it's out of necessity, you know?
Yeah. Well, we're about to find out. My grandson Kyle is in his early 20s. 6'1", weighs about 230 pounds. His sister is a very sweet 15-year-old and a devoted churchgoer. At a recent family get-together, they were goofing around, and he got her down on the floor on her stomach, sat on her knees to hold her down, and proceeded to reach his hand into her trousers to jerk her panties up and out of her pants. He then pulled her pants down almost to the bottom of her buttocks and spanked her. The whole time, I was trying to get Kyle to stop acting so disrespectfully to his sister, but he ignored me. This happened in front of several people, including my husband, a male cousin in his 40s, and the kid's great aunt. I was shocked and I'm still angry. Kyle's aunt agrees with me and wonders whether molestation is involved. Is this normal behavior between brothers and sisters? Are we old-fashioned? Are we overreacting? Signed, Shocked in the South.
Arrest everyone.
Everyone
Arrest
involved.
Everyone involved.
Immediately go to jail.
You're all getting charges pressed.
My first question, like, I knew I was in for some shit when she included his height and weight and the fact that she is a churchgoer. I was like, nope, nothing good is coming out of the
I'm just going to say this. No 15-year-old is devoted to anything. Leave that alone. 15-year-olds they're the pure dropper of any version of ADHD. No one is devoted. Don't stop talking to 15-year-olds. Just leave them alone. Lock them in a room for 3 years and just let them work it out.
I mean, the fact that it took literally till almost the last sentence to get to molestation, maybe. Like, I'm just, shock doesn't even begin to describe abuse.
You're describing a sexual assault.
Like exposed to right now, the crimes that were actively committed that you're, oh my God, sharing with dear Abby?
Did Abby publish this out of necessity?
Right? To get the police involved, have a trail, a paper record?
Yeah. I don't want to laugh because this obviously is a very serious situation. However, the choices, I'm curious as to why she picked those three people to include. She said this happened in front of several people. Okay, so we're going to guess more than three, including, so definitely more than just the one she named, my husband, a male cousin in his 40s, and the kid's great aunt. Why are were the other people just like cheering it on? Like, I don't understand why those people are like singled out.
I think it's because they're the people that were big enough to maybe pull him off. / the great aunt has to be looking all vulnerable in her little Sunday's best. Oh, no.
Yeah, I think it's that, like, they did it in front of people that maybe have weight in the family, not necessarily physical weight, but like emotional weight in terms of like the hierarchy of who's running things. I mean, obviously no one is.
As a parent, I think it's really nice that a brother and sister are doing anything together. And I think it shows some good parenting that they've been able to have any kind of contact. Usually kids are just on their phones or watching YouTube. And I'm going to be the outlier here and say I'm happy. I'm also going to say these, and this is sad to say, but this is clearly because of the way that they announced certain relatives and that they weren't listening. These are wealthy Southern white people, aren't they? Because your grandmother, this grandmother says, "Oh, I said something and was ignored," and I really think, I don't want to be overly stereotypical, but that's rich Southern white behavior where you don't listen to a grandmother because out of fear that you're going to get hit in the head.
Ooh, this is new because I don't know wealthy white culture.
That's true.
Oh,
and
that's
so
me.
This is an interesting reading on it. No, like I'm learning,
Well, a question I will ask. Chris, growing up, were you around relatives?
Some. There was a long period where my mom's side of the family wasn't super thrilled that she married a black guy, so that shit didn't Afro-Latina guy, so that wasn't perfectly acceptable. So we didn't see them for a while. Then we did see them. His side of the family, bunch of assholes. Didn't see them a lot, so we'd be in and out. But like, I do know this: even when I rarely saw my grandmother on my father's side, you listened to what she said. As much as like
Well,
she
that's
was
what
blowing,
my point I'm
she was
trying to
blowing cigarette smokes in my face. She was an asshole, but like I still.
I'm going to give a little
real.
real world here.
Yeah.
Because my grandmother was very wealthy, and the testosterone overflows in these white households. And even in her late age, they would make fun of her and call her possum teeth if she tried to tell them not to do something. You know, oh, possum teeth, go sit down. You being crazy, go sit down. And she used to like work at a concrete company and help build a lot of the freeways in North Carolina through her company. So it's like, I can see this of like, oh, grandma, shut your mouth. You don't know what you're talking about. You're too old school. You're worried about that. Keep your mouth shut over there.
Mm-hmm.
And being kind of overwhelmed by the testosterone in the home.
Yeah.
Sorry if I made this too.
No, it's
you've
good.
made it real. I like it. Let's get real with it. Danielle also looks as shocked as I am.
I mean, yeah, no, I'm learning so much, like, you know, the epidemiology of the culture of the wealthy white Southerner and like that family dynamic. Because, right, I'm Afro-Latina. So like to do something like that in front of a great aunt or a nana, it's like you listen to whatever the fuck they say.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
I think
like,
that's the
that
point.
is the law of the land. So to just be dismissed, you know.
Yeah,
Wow.
because at a certain point, I don't know what it is about white people. We get rid of our parents and grandparents pretty quick. We're just sort of like, where's the account? Who's in charge? Someone go over here. And so like there is this thing of like, at a certain point, you love these grandparents and these great grandparents, but boy, they are talking a lot and they are taking up a lot of time, and they want to come live with us now. No, we just got this house. We just got the house. I'm using the spare bedroom to stream, honey. They're not coming in with us. It's that sort of like, it's very protagonist syndrome. And I think, you know, a lot of white people have that heavier than maybe some minorities do, because we are usually the center of the universe. So we sometimes go throughout the world thinking like, I'm the main player, and if it's good or bad, it's only happening to me, and we're just kind of taking that in. And I think it's just sad overall that grandma only had Abby to go to for advice. Were there no friends she could like, hey, I'm really concerned about this one, before you go publicly to the national question answerer with all your family's business?
Well, she went to Kyle's aunt.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Grandma started to ask one of the other people, but yeah, she was worried that kid's gonna pull her underwear up if she's found out, so she's got to go.
I also want to
secretly.
say Kyle seemed to have this technique down a little bit. Like the way she describes, like, got it down, sat on her knees to hold her in place, did this. It's like, this is not the first time this activity has happened, I don't think.
Yeah, that maneuver, you don't just magically pull out a pair of panties by reaching in on the first go.
No, you gotta know where you're reaching.
They could be a rodeo family. It could have been a sheep
rodeo
technique.
Yeah. Also, I don't know that there's even advice you can give. What's weird is she doesn't ask, hey, Abby, how do I stop this behavior? She asks, am I crazy? Which means everybody else is telling her to like, hey, just relax, which is fucking insane. And
I guess she is just a real Southern belle, just being gaslit, you know? Just her and Blanche Dubois, just...
Is Kyle slow? Does that make any sense to me? You know what I'm saying? Is this an of mice and men situation? I'm not saying I'm okay. I'm not saying I'm right here. I'm asking a question. You have a giant
I'll say this
man.
in wrestling. I'm going to use wrestling. If someone doesn't have any personality, you introduce them with their height and their weight to at least give you some idea of who they are.
Who they are as a character. I
don't know what that says, you know, but if you have to lead with height and weight, there's not much else going on with this person.
There you go. Yeah. I don't, man, this has a show me the Rabbit George vibe to me, and I don't know if that's just me projecting that. I don't know that you can help this family outside of getting Kyle arrested. And I don't like calling the cop. I was having a very serious conversation about defunding the police the other day, and like I'm all about it, abolition. I'm all about it. I always do get, because where that argument always gets hung up with anybody when you bring it up is rapists and murderers, right?
Yes, they don't solve those crimes. Women on the internet and podcasts do.
Yeah. Sorry, you're 100% right. They solve those crimes, agreed. But if we're talking about prison abolition, what do we do with them, right? I think 99% of crimes, we don't necessarily like drug crimes, a lot of anything that's like theft, that's all related to poverty. So we can solve those issues through fixing societal issues. But when you get down to like psychosexual murderers and rapists, we got to have somewhere to put them, right? To just kind of keep them away from the rest of us. Cause that's not, you don't fix that with jobs. You know what I'm saying? You don't fix that with education.
No one's going to indoor malls anymore. Just put them there.
Okay.
They've got it.
Turn those into mental health facilities. I mean, okay, honestly, I've been watching that new HBO doc about just like horrific, like psychosexual, like murders, rapists, killers, and all of that. And most of it comes from like really early, like, you know, within the first 5 years, brain injury and trauma and hardcore sexual abuse. Like you are fucked up, like in a real raw way. And there's kind of no fixing that. So it's treatment and locking away and stuff like that, which is whatever. But
I brought that up because Kyle, I think, needs to go somewhere. I don't know that Kyle, like, this isn't a matter of Kyle not knowing what appropriate roughhousing is. You know what I'm saying? Kyle has the fact that he would just do this in front of the family speaks fucking volumes about where Kyle is going to escalate to. So I think you got to call the cops, as much as I hate to say it. I think Kyle's got to go somewhere. It could be a hospital. It could be something.
Do you think Kyle even did this? I mean, we have a history that we've seen now of...
What? Go ahead, please. I'm waiting.
Of a lady writing. I don't know that she hasn't exaggerated the situation.
Do you think she wanted to be on Dear Abby so bad? She was like, what's the most fucked up shit I can say to finally have my moment?
How come none of the other relatives are stepping in or whatever?
I mean,
I don't know that...
Kyle's aunt agrees. We've got two women that say...
Kyle's aunt didn't write in. Kyle's aunt told Grandma, yeah, because she wanted... Grandma's always a problem. Grandma comes to these events, she says, I'm going to have one bourbon, but when she goes to the back room, she has 3 or 4 bourbons. She sees shit all the time. Everybody ignores her. I'm taking a very different bet now, because as I'm sitting here, I'm starting to think that maybe Kyle's grandma is always the problem at these things.
And I think you just finished your impression of who was it, the great uncle? Just gaslighting the shit out of Grandma still.
No.
Grandma, you had 6 eggnogs. I don't know what you're talking about, Grandma.
I don't know, Matt.
Lit. Poor Grandma.
Look,
this
Matt.
is not an affidavit. It's not an affidavit. It is a letter to a self-help person in the newspaper.
Matt, are you going to start complaining about cancel culture next? What's happening here?
That's my next move. I'm getting ready to try to sell you. Did you know I'm going on tour with Jordan Peterson next week?
Oh, my God.
All meat, no filler. Here's the thing. This is too exact of a description. The activity, like, she didn't go, he pinned her down and spanked her butt. These are details, right? When you're looking
that's why I'm suspicious. That's why I'm suspicious. Is all what I don't understand how this event happened. Maybe that's where I'm confused.
Too descriptive, too clear of a picture, painted with too fine of a brush is what you're saying. The recollection is too pristine.
I live on the internet now. For the last 4 years, I think a lot of us have. And you will read stuff that people do, and you're like, that's not true. I know that didn't, where they're just like, I went to a grocery store and a leftist attacked me and turned over my cart and yelled at me because they could tell I had worn a red hat earlier that day. And I'm like, that's bullshit. That didn't happen. Sure. You want to be famous. Right. So you've made this up.
So Grandma's a part of QAnon?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I've been trying to say. I've been trying to say.
The cheese pizza is in her home. She's baking the cheese pizzas there and trying to cover it up.
Grandma is almost certainly QAnon, but that doesn't mean I don't believe her in this. Here's my thing. It's Grandma. Grandma giving the details to me rings of truth. If it was Grandpa and he was giving the details, there would be like a breathiness to the story. You know what I'm saying? It'd be more like he held her down and reached inside her panties. Like, it would be a little more like gross, but this seems journalistic to me the way she's describing it. I buy it. I think all this happened. I think Matt goes by Kyle on the internet and he's just trying to get out from under accusations.
I'll see as one of us is trusting old Southern white ladies and the other one isn't. So on you now.
I've seen fried green tomatoes.
Holy
shit.
Here's the okay though. Hear me out though. She's accusing another white person, so they're probably guilty. If she was like, "Oh, the maid pinned down my daughter,"
okay,
yeah, okay, I don't buy that. But
I see where you're going now. I see.
A white man, a straight white man, she's accusing of these things. He did that shit. That is just.
Did she say he played football? Was that mentioned?
No, we're making that up. It was the height and weight. It's the height and weight thing that she added.
Okay, I didn't want to get his scholarship messed up, right? Isn't that the old adage? You're gonna mess up the boy's scholarship. Who fucking cares?
He's
not scholarly for
his
anything.
Early 20s, and she is.
I like how we don't get an age. Early 20s can really be up to 25.
Yeah. I'm guessing he's
honestly 26 because that's when you get kicked off the insurance anyway. So
absolutely,
that's a young adult.
So she's doing a lot to try to protect him already.
Do you guys? Who's got siblings? I have a sister.
I have a sister.
Right.
I have a brother.
I have a sister.
Okay, so Matt and I, because maybe it's different when you have a same-sex sibling. When's the last time you roughhoused with your sister?
It never ever happened.
Maybe it happened when I was a child. Like, we're 5, 6 years old, whatever. Then she beat me up. She was older than me. But as an adult, I never wrestled fucked around with it, wrestling roughhousing with another human being as an adult. That's already a weird instinct.
It's not for me. I roughhouse consensually though.
Yeah, but you get paid for it. That's different.
That's true.
That's financial. We get that. I don't know that I would do. I'm not saying I would wrestle my sister for money. Everybody slow down. Put the Pornhub.
I wrestled a 12-year-old girl for money.
Is wrestling sex work?
Is wrestling sex work? Effy, I'm sure you have a position.
There's a lot of customs matches in the wrestling world that take place in little warehouses, so...
If you don't know what that is, Effy, give us a little description. I know what you're talking about, but...
Yeah, customs wrestling is when you get paid a lot of money to get recorded in your smallest pair of underwear, hopefully like a thong or something along those lines, and you do very light touch, submission-heavy, breathing-heavy wrestling matches with people, and older gay men purchase them, for $20 a match, and they sell them out digitally. But it's some of the largest paychecks a lot of these independent guys get because they can go in and make $2,000 in 4 hours just rolling around in their underwear. And so all the great champions you see on TV, you can look it up. A lot of them are on Pornhub. Yeah. You can see all your favorites just in ball huggers doing chokeholds.
Yeah. So the answer to your question, Danielle, was yes.
Yes.
100%. And
now I like wrestling. Look at that. I'm recent convert. I support it across the board.
Let's go ahead. All right. That's, as I think, a decent enough segue into... Oh, I like this one. Let's read this one. My sister and I have no interest in body piercing, except our ears. But we have seen it on friends and are not impressed. However, our 44-year-old mom got her nipples pierced and has started wearing jewelry there. I don't know how else you get your nipples pierced. It'd be weird if you just put a hole in it and then kept it moving. Our parents are divorced and she's not in a relationship right now, so it's not to impress a man. She says she did it to feel good about herself, which makes no sense to us. She takes off her top to show her female friends when they come over, and we can see them literally roll their eyes, but she doesn't seem to notice. She has now started showing off her piercings to our friends. I'm talking about girlfriends, but even so, we find this beyond embarrassing. They're polite to her face, but laugh behind her back, and word about it has spread, which we find humiliating. I suppose we should be thankful that at least she hasn't pierced her most personal place to show off to our friends like we've seen some girls do. We think some kind of midlife crisis or hormonal imbalance is causing her to act this way, but we wish she'd find a better outlet. If she wants to make a fool of herself in front of her friends, that's one thing, but we don't think she has the right to embarrass us in front of our friends. What can we do? Signed, Embarrassed in the West.
Is their mom the mom from Mean Girls?
Yeah. I was thinking she's the mom from Sons of Anarchy. She's Peg Bundy. That's a great... Look, pierce your nipples all day. Do what you want to do. Show them who you want to show them to. provided they also want to see him. I'm not so... Look, my first instinct was to be like, oh, these daughters are a bunch of prudes. Stop being shitty to your mom. I don't like the way they're like, oh, she's not doing it to impress a man. Yeah, who gives a fuck? She's doing it for her. Good for her. But keep your fucking titties to yourself. Like, I don't... As someone who loves titties, I don't love them all the time. You know what I'm saying? Just like... Everyone, like, not in front of... Like, just keep them to yourself until somebody asks. Or go, hey, do you mind if I show you... This might be infected.
We don't know if that's what she's doing, though. She could be asking those exact questions. And if she's in her own home and they're bringing these people into the house and mom's name is on the house, she has the right in her own home to have her breasts out with her big Janet Jackson jewelry showing off. I love it.
Fact.
I agree.
We know how old the daughters are.
We don't. I will say the mom is 44. So the daughters... The way... I mean... Go ahead.
I'm going to guess that the oldest daughter is then 26.
Yeah, I'm guessing
she had kids when she was young, and she's enjoying life right now, and I support her in that. I will say, I don't know even if my mother has nipples, so I'm never going to find out if they're pierced because I have an inability to make that kind of eye contact to that area. I think it's different when you're growing in a house with all daughters, but I can understand. It's weird. You know, it's tough because you want to be...
You're like, this is weird.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
I just like to take the other side of shit. But I'm trying to figure her out right now because I want to be like, yeah, Mom, you go out there. Because I think getting your nipples pierced, that's awesome at 44. But what I'm worried about is that she doesn't have anybody to show these things to, and that's why she's showing them to the kids and the friends and stuff, because she got them pierced for a reason. She wants to show them off, right? But maybe
get a plenty of fish.
Oh my God.
That's the Jesus one, right? I've always mixed those up. I mixed that one up with farmers, the farmers.
Farmers only?
There you go.
Yeah.
There's options.
I am in a relationship that predates apps. So I missed out Grindr, all that shit. I've been with my fiance for like 7 years. I never had a Bumble or a whatever. I had an OkCupid, I think, at one point. But like, is there like an app for just like, hey, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of apps for people want to see titties. But get an OnlyFans. That's the one I was.
I was just about to say
get you an OnlyFans. Monetize your hobbies is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And those people want to see. They're begging to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And then the kids don't have to worry. And then you've got a little extra, and you take the kids out for an in and out on the weekends, and then you get to be a cool mom all again. It all works out. We've settled this one.
I'm going back, by the way. I think these sisters suck. The more I go back to this, the way they phrased, we should be thankful she hasn't pierced her most personal place.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
These are some,
here's the thing.
Like Christian...
Breasts are providers of life, right? Did those sisters suck on those breasts for milk to be grown into people?
Yeah.
Did that happen? Then I don't think you need to say anything about what gave you sustenance. It gave you life. It has served its purpose. Now let it move on to being a showpiece for the home.
They think it's some kind of midlife crisis or hormonal imbalance. I think what we're dealing with here is a wild mom, conservative daughter situation. You know, often how, like, if you have super conservative parents, you as a kid, you go kind of crazy, maybe get into drugs or whatever. But if you have the wild hippie parents, you go right. I think we have a cool as shit mom and two Trump-ass gross fucking daughters. And I don't like them. I've come so far around on this. Get them titties out, girl. I am so...
Yeah, let it go.
And show them to their friends. Put them in your fucking... these.
If she asked and they said yes, them not giving a proper answer in a conversation, that's on them. Communication-wise, that's on you. You were asked a direct question, do you want to see my pierced nipples?
Yeah.
There are some kids that just never learn that their parents are human beings, and these are kids who still want their mom to be their mom. Right. But if they're grown up and they're in their 20s, it's time for them to... Mom gets to be a human again. She already gave up. I'm going to sound like an asshole here, but she gave up the best years of her life for those bitches, and she needs to be able to enjoy her life now, throw them titties out there, have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I'm not saying that shit ain't great at 40, but I was also 20, and I've been 40, and I didn't hurt as much when I was 20. I could sleep and wake up and I felt good.
Oh, I turned 43 last week, and neither of my knees work. I can walk, kind of, but like if I want to go up and down stairs, I have to like take a deep breath. You know what I'm saying? Like there's the moment where I have to be like, and then get into fucking stairs. So yeah, no, fuck that. 20
there are
is
some
way
things
better.
that are better about 40. Like now when the phone rings, I don't immediately panic and think, oh, fuck, who needs money? You know what I mean? I don't have to do the Rolodex of all the bills I haven't paid and where I got to move. So some stuff's better. But I would love to be able to wake up feeling good and happy again. I could drink all night long and still wake up and be like, let's go do it again. Now I have half a glass of wine at dinner and I'm like, I got to take a fucking Pepsi.
I just had this beer. I'm taking a nap as soon as this podcast is over. That's a fact. Let's get one more. Let's see if we got time for like one, maybe two more. Let's try this one. My fiance and I have known each other since high school. I was the good kid with honors and the right parents. She was considered trouble and didn't have the best home life. Rumor had it that she moonlighted. Oh, Matt, the fucking predator in that. Oh yeah, really just came out. It was kind of gross.
You know my wife and you know me.
I do. This very true.
I could have maybe written this one. Let's keep it going. I'm liking it so far.
Rumor had it she moonlighted as a stripper our senior year, but I always blew it off as false. Fast forward 12 years, I ran into her recently and we decided to have dinner. I fell in love with her on that date. A few months went by and I mentioned the rumors. She wasn't upset and matter-of-factly explained that she did start stripping in high school and continued through college. It bothered me, but the benefits of being with her far outweighed the negatives. Now that we are engaged, she told me she has to come clean. She said there were times in college when she had sex with some of her regulars. I am floored. She basically admitted she had prostituted herself. I don't know what to do. I don't want to blame her for her past indiscretions, but this is a big deal. I don't know how to let it go. Advice, please. Signed, Guy Who Needs Advice.
Guy needs to get dumped.
Yeah.
Dunzo.
Guy needs to go. She deserves better than you. You're trash. She's good enough to marry, but she's not good enough to make a living doing what she needs to do to get by. Get the fuck out. I hate him.
Oh, yeah. I hate him. No, we can all agree he is not a very creative person, as like the sign off alone of advice, please, signed Guy Who Needs Advice. I'm like, oh, you're fucking very boring.
His porn is probably the freakiest, nastiest, fucking most extreme.
And he said the goods outweigh the bads. He said, and that to me says we have good stripper sex.
Right.
And when you say the good outweighs the bad, listen, sex work to me is the most magical thing. I know you guys hear in stand-up, all you need in stand-up is a microphone and a stage or whatever that phrase is. With sex work, all you need is your body. And to me, to be able to use your body is the most brave thing and the most magic thing because you create money out of something that is already there. That's beautiful. Celebrate this woman. And she needs to find a man who actually will celebrate her because this is not normal behavior. This is not redemptive communicative.
It's dude ego shit, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the idea that also his the stripping I could make my peace with. That was the benefits of being with her outweighed the negatives. Which if the negatives are just that she stripped, then the negatives is you have a hot girlfriend. I don't understand. But then the idea that he has to be like, oh, stripping is one thing, but prostitution is something else. When she never let's just take the words for what they are. She said she had sex with some of her regular clients. Doesn't say she charged them for that sex. And even if she did, who gives a fuck? I'm not judging that. Do you? But he is making a lot of fucking assumptions about what that means. Maybe she just fucking had fun stripping and then fucked some dudes. What the fuck is your yeah, this dude makes me mad. Oh, I like that I picked a bunch of things to just get angry about this time around. I think here's a bigger issue we're not addressing. Fast forward 12 years and he runs into her. We are talking about people who never left their hometown. Can we agree with that, right? You never moved anywhere. And if your hometown is Los Angeles, if your hometown is a major city, you can maybe get away with not leaving your hometown. I still think you need to get out and explore the world. But that's not the vibe I'm getting here, right? This is medium-sized city, big enough that you're kind of running into the same people you went to high school with. Maybe if you fucking left the 12-block radius you grew up in, you wouldn't have such fucking problems with a woman trying to fucking support herself. I'm sorry.
He's
I'm
also
ranting.
like one of these kind of. Some people grow up with this idea of that permanent record. Oh, what you do in high school. Go down on whatever this magic record is.
Yeah.
And he believes that he's living his life somehow perfectly. And those people will always end up divorced. You have to at some point recognize that you ain't perfect, and that's the only way you can have a long-term relationship. Sorry, I think we were supposed to bag on this guy, but then I got serious.
What kind of grown adult cares about what happened in high school? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's the wildest.
It's just so insane. It's like, are we still mad because you told on me for sneaking out with Becky or some bullshit? You know what I mean? What the fuck?
I'm half with you, but as a certified grudge holder, I'm going to tell you right now, there are some people that if I see them, it's on site from high school. I still don't.
Understand, but
now I grew up with a bunch of violent rednecks, so it was a bunch so there's a fair
I went to an all-girls Catholic high school, so it's more mental.
Yeah. But even the mental
and
shit.
Emotional.
Yeah.
So we operate in a different way, would not be.
But what if I wouldn't be able to handle it? What if my wife decided she didn't want to be with me because she found out in high school I wore eyeliner and listened to Depeche Mode? I mean, we did a lot of shit in the past, and I don't need it held against me now.
That's true. That is for sure true. The one constant when you read a lot of Dear Abby letters, which I have started to do recently, is one, haven't left their hometown. There's a lot of this that a lot of these people's problems would be solved with some new perspective, a little bit of perspective, a little bit of getting outside the bubble you have spent 30, 40 plus years in. You
know what though? This dude, it feels like he left and didn't succeed and is now back.
12 years, 12-year jump.
If he comes from a successful family, golden child, whatever, he had all this opportunity, then why aren't you off to a bigger and better place? Why are you back in the same hometown, dude?
All the research Danielle's been doing with these psychopath documentaries is teaching her some good investigative skills, because I think you're onto something.
Absolutely.
He's not facing himself, man.
We jumped the opening part. Good kid with honors, right parent.
Right.
What are you back doing in this town? Very good. Yeah,
I bet he's forgiven himself too. You think he's forgiven himself?
Oh, he's for sure forgiven himself, dude. And also, this is you are at least 12 years out of high school, right? So you're at least 31-ish, right? We're going to say it's 12 years later, so we're going to guess he's at least in his 30s. But he's coming in with 18-year-old energy. Being that instant, I could imagine 18-year-old me having an issue with a girlfriend being a stripper. Now, the first part of that would have to be getting a girlfriend. That would have been difficult for 18-year-old Chris. But let me just imagining the idea that I had this wonderful woman who was also a stripper. I could see insecurities in me at 18. Me at 30, imagine being an adult and having the same, this is someone who never grew up. And I wonder if that's, again, coming back to never fucking leaving your hometown. I think, you know how in Israel, they draft you into the military and everybody at 18 has to do a year. Everyone should have to do 4 years on the other side of the country. It doesn't have to be the other side of the country, but somewhere the fuck else. And then we'll pay for it, taxes, whatever. It breeds better people.
It's accurate.
Yeah.
Bring up for coastal elites and rural teens. For all of us.
Mix it up.
It's just the greatest episode of Wife Swap, but Wife Swap College Edition.
Yeah. That's what's so shitty about college being for it being sort of an elitist thing and you need money and whatnot is I think a lot of these issues that people have would be solved by getting out. And even if you go to college the next town over, it's still new people, new interactions, new whatever. And I think that is one of the biggest things that isn't discussed when we talk about forgiving college debt and whatnot. It's not even a degree. It's just the fucking getting out of your own fucking house and maybe meeting a black person for the first time, or seeing that gay people exist and they're not what your church pastor told you. Any of that shit is happens once you fucking leave.
All these people sound white as fuck.
Oh yeah. Every letter has been white. Every letter. I promise you. Black people don't write Dear Abby. There might be a black advice column. I'm sure
Black
there is.
people are writing to Dear Homegirl.
Yeah. They just write the read. It's just them writing.
Right? They just
Listen, but all our kids now are growing up in quarantine. So they're all growing up in the same place, which is on the internet, which is fun because now they're all like radicalized far left K-pop superstar fans. And they're going to change the elections. It's magical. Instead of leaving their town, they just stayed in their room and figured the world out on their phone. And now they're going to be crazy. That Gen Z and beyond, those kids are going to really fuck some shit up. And I'm so excited to be an old man and watch it.
That is actually very accurate. I came with such old man energy into that, talking about how you have to leave to meet new people. No, everybody meets new people on the fucking computer now. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm old. On the computer, I just said. Oh,
is that Adele?
They're militarized by TikTok. The TikTok armies, man.
Content is gonna change the world, man.
that is fucking true. I on TikTok, I don't do anything. I just watch. I lurk because I'm not making content. I'm too old, obviously.
You know that there's a person that checks in on you if you just scroll for too long?
Oh, I've seen them. That dude's like, hey, have some food, drink some water. I've seen that guy. Not good. Yeah, I think you're right. I think maybe you don't have to move. Just fucking make sure you have a good Wi-Fi signal and everything's going to work itself out.
Yeah, and double check everything you read because it's all make-believe on there. But, if it gets you mad enough to vote, who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's very true. Well, you guys, this has been fucking awesome. Let's plug some shit. Danielle, I know your podcast. What do you want to... I'm sorry, I'm coughing. Go ahead and plug your podcast while I...
Hey, I am Danielle and I host Wow Rude. It's a comedy podcast about pop culture, friendship, and being too much. Check us out at Wow Rude on all the socials. Like, subscribe, follow, all that.
Do all that good stuff. Matt, anything you want to tell the people?
I run a little thing called Punch Comedy, and we haven't done a single show in 9 months, and I don't know when it'll be back, but I know that you have fans that trickle over into my world over there, and one of these days it will come back when it's safe, and I feel like we're doing it for the right reasons.
Punch Comedy is the best stand-up comedy show in the state of Texas. I miss it dearly.
I'd love to do it. I just don't want to half-ass it.
No,
don't want to half-ass it.
100%. We'll do it when it's time. Also, if you're in,
and you'll be there, please.
Of course. And if you're in Austin, obviously Dudley and Bob with Matt on. Yeah. Check that out every week. What time are you on now? I know you're in the afternoons, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, we moved to afternoon drive, which has been kind of perfect because there's nobody else doing that. And we do from 3 to 7 now. It was supposed to be these long afternoon drives. Now there's nobody driving anymore because everyone works out of this house. It's the dumbest thing we ever did, but it was for good reason.
And Effy, what do you have to tell the people? Where can they find you?
Everywhere I am Effy Lives. EFFYLIVES. That's Cameo, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Pro Wrestling Tees. I mean, all of it. If you search Effy Lives, you'll find things with me. Give me your money. I need it. I need your money.
Do that for sure. Effy, how is Cameo? They asked me to do it, and it felt too weird.
No, it's my favorite thing ever because you just get to riff on stuff. Like the words are on the screen. I get to go wild. And what people have started doing is asking me to do movie scenes. So I will pull up a movie scene. I'll watch it one time. Hopefully it's something I've seen. And then I'll pull the script up and I'll just riff it one time and go. It's really fun. And I make money doing it really fast. So
awesome.
I've had a great time. And now WWE pulled all their superstars off Cameo. So I'm also doing impressions of other WWE superstars. And if you squint, I look like The Rock if you squint. Right?
I am at Chris Cubis on all social media. If you like the show, please go to Apple Podcasts, leave a rating, leave a review. It super helps people get the eyes on the show. We will be back next week, and I love you guys. Thank you.